Artificial intelligence, AI. It feels like it's everywhere, right? It's in our phones, it's in our cars, it's even helping out in our hospitals. But what is it really? Like beyond the buzzwords, how does it actually work? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how these machines actually learn, and how that learning is changing our world in ways you might not even see coming.
Okay, so let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What on earth could a 2-month-old baby possibly have in common with a high-tech rover that's exploring the surface of Mars? The answer? Well, it's actually pretty simple, but it is the absolute key to understanding all of AI. They are both learning machines.
See, before we can even begin to understand artificial intelligence, we have to take a look at the OG learning machine, the one that inspired the whole shebang, the human brain. Get this. Scientists at Trinity College Dublin found that babies, at just 2 months old, are already sorting the world out. Using brain scans, they saw that before babies can talk, before they can even point, their little brains are already figuring out the difference between, say, an animal and a toy. I mean, that's learning in its absolute purest form, and it's the very blueprint we've used for AI.
So, okay, if that's how the original learning machine works, how in the world do we teach an artificial one to do the same thing? Let's take a look inside the AI brain and find out.
All right, so at its core, AI is all about making a machine smart. Your normal computer just follows a very strict set of commands. If this happens, do that. But an AI is totally different. It's built to spot patterns, learn from what it's seen, and get better on its own. It just uses massive amounts of data and some really clever math instead of, well, an actual brain. So how does this training actually happen? Honestly, it's a lot like teaching a little kid. First, you just flood the AI with data. I'm talking a million pictures of cats and dogs. Second, you give it the answers. You label every single picture, cat, dog, cat, cat. And third, the AI just starts guessing. And every time it gets one wrong, it gets corrected. This whole process of guessing correct happens millions, sometimes even billions of times until the AI gets insanely good at telling a cat from a dog. To really get how an AI's brain is structured, let's use a fun little analogy. Imagine we're building an AI to recommend lunches for school cafeteria. We know a few things. Students will eat avocados, they'll eat ice cream, but they absolutely will not eat raisins. Sounds simple enough, right?
Well, what happens when our simple AI suggests a lunch of avocado covered in ice cream? Yeah, nobody eats it. Our AI needs to understand more complex rules. This is where something called a hidden layer comes in. It's like this extra step in the AI's thinking process that figures out relationships. It's the part that learns avocados are good and ice cream is good, but avocados and ice cream together, that's bad.
So, how does it make that final call? This is where weights come into play. The AI assigns a number, a weight, to every connection. Think of it like a vote. The connection for avocado and ice cream together that leads to reject gets a really high weight, like 500, because it learned from past data that was a terrible idea. The individual paths to accept get lower weights. So the AI just does the math and follows the path with the highest score. Here, 500 beats 200, so the final decision is a big reject.
So now that we have a feel for the basics, let's see what happens when you take that simple idea and scale it up, like way, way up. This is where AI goes from a simple lunch recommender to something that is truly spectacular.
And it doesn't get much more spectacular than this. Remember that Mars rover? It's not being driven by some person at NASA with a joystick. Nope. An AI called AutoNav is navigating the tricky terrain of Mars all by itself. And since it can't possibly send every single photo it takes back to Earth, another AI called Aegis basically acts as its personal photographer, deciding which rocks look interesting enough for scientists to study. It's a research assistant 100 million miles away from home. Pretty wild.
But AI isn't just on other planets. It's literally in your pocket. It's in your home. When you ask Siri or Alexa for the weather, that's AI understanding your voice. That social media feed that seems to know you a little too well, that's AI. It's also creating those super smart enemies in your video games and even building personalized lesson plans and educational apps. It's already woven into the fabric of our daily lives. Now, with all of this incredible stuff, it's so easy to start thinking of AI as if it's a person. But we got to pump the brakes for a second. It is absolutely crucial to understand its limits. So let's take a moment for a reality check.
This right here is probably the most important thing to remember. An AI doesn't think the way a human thinks. We operate on emotions, feelings, and a sense of morality. An AI operates on cold, hard math, probabilities, and patterns in data.
It doesn't understand truth or meaning. It's just a prediction machine on steroids. So when a chatbot writes a sentence, it isn't thinking about what it wants to say. It's just calculating, based on all the books and websites I've read, what is the most statistically likely word to come next.
And that leads us to a massive challenge: AI bias. If the data we use to train an AI is flawed or biased, then the AI's decisions will be flawed and biased too. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if you train a hiring AI on a company's past decisions, and that company historically only hired men for a certain job, well, guess what? The AI will learn that bias and start screening out perfectly qualified women. It's a tool, and it just reflects the material it was built with: the good, the bad, and the ugly.
But, understanding these limitations is actually the key to moving forward. Because the future isn't about AI replacing us, it's about us forming a new kind of partnership with this incredibly powerful new tool. And the potential of that partnership is just staggering. In our everyday lives, we're talking about a future with self-driving cars and medicine that's tailored to your exact DNA, but it's also about tackling huge global problems. AI is already being used to help protect endangered animals from poachers, and it's becoming a vital tool in the fight against climate change, helping us build smarter energy grids and predict extreme weather events.
This brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. The conversation isn't really about humans versus machines. The real shift, the one that's happening right now, is going to be between the people who learn how to use AI and the people who don't. It's a new tool for thinking, and knowing how to use it is quickly becoming an essential skill for the world we live in.
We are all standing right at the beginning of a brand new era. AI isn't just another piece of technology. It's a tool that can amplify our own intelligence, our own creativity. The only question left is, how will you choose to use it?